Debate time. Atheism is a religion. Saying that is going to upset a lot of people that are atheists, and I do apologize. I'm not intending to step on your toes, merely to point out what I observe to be true. Atheists believe that there is no God. That is a belief. It's not a fact, it's a belief. Many atheists will agree that you cannot prove it. That's actually more of an agnostic approach, but it's still, they're agreeing that you cannot prove it. They've just arrived at this conclusion through some certain processes, through logical reasoning, through scientific inquiry, and through other processes. But they've arrived at essentially a faith. That there is no God is a faith that we've all come here through a giant cosmic accident. A miracle, if you will, but we can't call it miracle. Perhaps we'll come up with a different word for it. We've all arrived at the location that we are because that was the nature of the universe. Well, okay, nature is a bad word. We gotta find a naturalistic explanation that's not supernatural in nature that can explain the universe. We might not be able to do that, scientifically speaking, but we can arrive at a logical conclusion that there's no God, even though that has nothing to do with scientific conclusion. Science cannot address whether there's a God or not, and it shouldn't. In the realm of scientific inquiry, you cannot address philosophy, and the idea of God is a philosophical concept. It's not a scientific one. We might be able to understand our universe within scientific ideas, but we can't answer why. Why is it raining? We cannot answer. We can answer how it's raining, but not why. So that, with that idea in mind, we cannot answer why the universe is here. We might be able to answer how it was made in some way, but not the ultimate origin of its creation, or why it happened the way it did. We can't answer those questions unless we leave science and approach philosophy. When you're in philosophy, you are dealing with objects of thought. And when you're dealing with objects of thought, you are dealing with faith in many, many ways. If I believe that I had a dream last night, I can't prove to you that I had a dream last night. Either you're going to believe that I did or believe that I didn't have a dream. But you didn't witness my dream. It's an object of my thought. It's not a physical object that I can point at and say that is my dream. That's philosophy. I can't point to God and say, well, there he is, because he's an object of thought. That doesn't make him not real. That just makes him harder to understand. So atheists have a religion in the sense that non-atheists do, just it's not organized yet. There are some atheists that are trying to organize it. They're trying to have social gatherings. There are many books about atheism. There are many approaches to atheism. There are apologetic atheists. There are evangelistical atheists. There are politically active atheists. There's fundamentalist atheists. They come in all shapes and sizes and flavors. There are agnostic atheists who are struggling to not believe. But it's a faith at its core. Recognize it as such. Don't rebel against the idea that it's a faith. And many atheists will say, no, it's a belief that there is no God, therefore it's not a faith because it's a faith that there's no faith. Oh, yeah, see what I'm saying? It is a faith. Okay, maybe the word religion is wrong. Maybe the idea that it's a religion is somewhat wrong. Wait a minute, I'm disproving myself. Bear with me. This is a debate time. I'm trying to show both sides of the picture here, and I'm not very good at it, but bear with me. Okay, atheism is just a non-belief, and we recognize that it's a belief. So, what is a belief? It's an agreement upon one truth. Okay? It's not a religion because religions have certain doctrine. Do atheists have certain doctrines? Yes, they point usually towards science. The scientific inquiry method is promoted, which is good. Nothing wrong with science. Evolution is often pointed to as a way to explain how life has developed on our planet. Other forms of evolution, like abogenesis, is pointed to as how life itself started from non-life. And all these things are great, wonderful theories and ways to approach how we got here when we look at the cosmological construct. Okay, what about our universe? How did our universe get here? There's many different ways to approach that within the atheist realm, all of which are very natural explanations. They will point to that there is perhaps a natural cause, and try to debate scientifically what that might be. But because they're constrained within the object of science, they are omitting something. They're deliberately saying we only recognize science as the approach to truth, not philosophy, although there are some atheists who will talk about philosophy. But within the constraints of science, you cannot prove or disprove that God exists. Why? Because that's not how God operates. He operates on a level that is apart from the physical universe, because I can't think of any religion that really does. We all recognize God as a spiritual God. Christians do recognize that God took on a human body at one point in time, and that's something that we can try to prove historically or disprove historically. But that's a different issue. What I'm getting at here is this isn't a debate between... Let me just clarify one thing. This isn't a debate between a believer and a non-believer. This is somebody that recognizes something as a faith. I recognize atheism as a faith, as a religion, in the sense that atheists have a fundamental way to approach atheism. They have a doctrine and a structure. You don't have to go through this certain structure. Like I said, there's no atheism church, although there are some that are trying to form churches, but there's no dogmatic way to do it. The only thought process when entering atheism is logic. Let's just use pure logic and scientific thought, and anything that's not scientific we're just going to do away with. Philosophy, we're not going to talk about that. Other objects of thought, we're just going to deal with the materialistic, very dogmatic approach that science has to our reality. And we're going to ignore any other thing that would get in our way of believing in what we believe in. Bottom line is, it's a faith. You can't prove that there isn't a God. Therefore, it's a faith that you believe that there isn't one. It's a religion in that sense that there are certain ways to approach it. Maybe it's multiple religions that lead to one conclusion. That religions lead to different sort of conclusions about God is, I believe, people of faith recognizing that God is complex and we don't know how to approach him yet, but that doesn't make him any less real. You have simply replaced one maximum with a different maximum. You've replaced the maximum that there might be a God with the maximum that there isn't. In doing this, you're trying also, I think, to make yourselves seem smarter than those that believe that there is a God, to prove that your belief is more correct than ours. Why have you replaced one maximum with another? I don't know. But can't you recognize that it is a faith, at least, and that you have replaced one faith with a different faith? That it's an intellectual process instead of a spiritual one doesn't take away that it's a faith. Until next time, Peace out.